I know where the big box of Tremors 3 is. It's up there holding the shelf up. That isn't going to happen. Hello, I'm Stephen Monkey Mason and welcome to my review for Tremors 3 Return to Perfection. Back to Perfection, that's the fucker there. Now, as you can see in the series, I've filmed the other 2 episodes all the way in Hira in New Zealand. I'm now back in England. I recently did the podcast. Not last night, the night before. I recorded the podcast yesterday. I mastered it, extracted the audio and uploaded it on the internet. And I'm going to have to record another podcast for Tremors 4. Then 5, then 6, and then 7. And I wasn't honestly going to bother doing the reviews for Tremors because I was like, well, I'm not in New Zealand. I'm housebound, we're locked down, and Tremors is outside. And I was like, oh, you know what? When I was watching Tremors 2, because I edited Tremors 2 last night, I said I was going to do a review. So I'm going to do a review. So, Tremors came along quite quickly. I remember just seeing Burt Gummer on the front cover, locked down with his gun. And I was like, get in, Tremors 3. Unlike the Tremors 2, when my cousin had been going on about it and on about it and on about it, this came out it was about 6 years, I want to say. I want to say Tremors 2 was about 95, 96. This was 2001. It's 19 years old. It's like, wow. And this was, like, you know what I mean? It was a cult following because this is the one that did that well, that it spun off a TV show. There must have been a lot of ideas thrown down of what they could do. Now Michael Gloss steps up, and it's great to see returning cast from the original. The mom and the daughter. The daughter is the girl from Jurassic Park. Can never pronounce her name. Melvin's back. What the hell's his name? What's his name? I'll remember it anyway. The old man is back. And the body count is extremely low. The body count in this movie is 4 people. I'd say, what? Only 4. Now, the idea flips it on the head. So you've got Tremors 1, the worms, and it's the reveal. You get the sluggy hands, then the big worm. Tremors 2, the graboids are straight out there. Then we get the Shriekers. And this, we get the Shriekers straight away. And Burt Gummer's got down like the kind of tank from Waterworld. And he mows them down. The CGI, it's there. A problem with the CGI in this, it's weight. You know, they've got the composites done, and again, they're probably investing in the TV show, so they've spent the money and the time getting these models into the computer. They were developing a computer game at the time, so it's probably a branch out, you know. And it's all about weight. So you get all these Shriekers running ahead, you know, like just an army of them. They're getting mowed down, like, and that's the start of the movie. Burt returns home to find out that Desert Jack has moved into town. Walter Chang's daughter or granddaughter has now took over the store. It looks in a very similar location. I love the colour. The palette is definitely still there. Desert Jack and his friend are going around scamming tourists on like a little scheme that it really shows you how they made the first movie, pulling the gate posts, using the fire extinguisher with a puff of smoke and all that. And there's some really good extra casting in this, especially the guy with the white stuff on his nose and that, like, almost the golfer. He is hilarious in this. So, you know, it brings in a few new characters, bringing the old characters in. I'm trying to think of what that guy's called. But anyway, Burt gets a shock that there is. So, Burt hits the alarm. The siren goes out that there's a graboid. Desert Jack's friend is eaten. He's the first victim. And the town goes on high alert, and he's like, right, like, let's go and get these graboids. It's amazing though in the market as well. It's completely branded. Jean-Claude Van Damme does appear behind Burt Gummer when I was watching the podcast Sudden Death VHSs for rent in the market. But everywhere you look, there's cups, there's stickers, there's street signs, you know what I mean? They've proper branded this market out and capitalised on it. And then, you know, Burt hits the panic button and the government shows up and said, no, you cannot go there. And then they go off. So we get a few graboids, little bits and pieces. They use a few bits from the original movie in this. Melvin comes back to town to say he's the estate buyer and he's trying to buy up the land. Still no idea who Melvin's dad is in the original. And then, you know, the scientists get whacked out. Now, the scientists, 2 of them die off camera, and one of them has a slow walk out the desert. Homage to Fred Ward from the second one as he's covered himself in cooling agent. And he drops dead. So that's the 4th victim. And then there's one more. So there's 5 people get killed in this. I don't want to say his name. It's not El Paso. God. The guy from the original movie, man, bless him. It's like a common Mexican name as well. So anyway, when the government team get taken down, Bert, Desert Jack, Walter Chang's granddaughter, not Guerrero. They go off to hunt down where these shriekers are, because Bert Gummer's got internet and satellite, and you can see that the shriekers are up there. But by the time they get there, this is the first time in Michael Gloucester Visit Him Online that they've encountered the species after 12 hours, and they've done a Gremlins. The worms have turned yet again, and we get the introduction of the ass blasters. Still rocking Predator vision and wings, and shakes its ass and flies off. If you came up with ideas for a third Tremors and went, alright, in this one they fly, they're like, what the fuck? But they've also created a very grounded thing. We'll have a graboid to a shrieker to an ass blaster who carries the egg, drops the egg off, and it, can expand. Where am I going here? Now El Blanco is a white graboid who appears and becomes Bert Grummer's thing. It totally looks like a penis coming out of the ground. Again, it's fully CGI when it comes up and goes back down. It's all about weight, and the idea of this one being an albino is straight away when you first see it come out of the ground and go, that doesn't look right. Well, because it's an albino one. So there's some really funny bits in this. It's all about survival, hiding away from the heat vision as they did, how to take out the ass blasters. They used the junkyard from the original. They even acknowledged cast members who died in the original, that you would have some beer hidden in there or some whiskey to blow up some pipe bombs. Some really funny bits. This is a lot more comical. This is the funny one out there. It also establishes Bert Gummer as a main character in this, as the first one with Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward, and even Rebecca McIntyre. Second one sees Fred Ward and Grady comes in, and this one we don't have Fred Ward or Grady or Rebecca McIntyre. Anyway, and we just have new characters. And Bert, I mean, they really dropped the ball when Bert's basement, because they don't have the graboid coming through the wall, the taxidermy thing he has in the second one, which is a big letdown. It's a proper elephant in the room, as they pretty much show every wall but that wall, so they cover their asses. But like with the other two movies, there's a lot of stuff in the background, there's a lot of foreshadowing, there's really clever filmmaking, and that's why it created such a cult following. Even though it was a lower budget movie and they're tiptoeing around the ideas to get this movie made, they still took time to develop cast characters, and also attention to detail, and coming back to perfection, and not recasting actors, bringing the original actors back and seeing where they're got. I mean, it's a girl from Jurassic Park. She's Mindy. She's bouncing on a pogo stick in the original, and this one she's hitting like a mid-20s and stuff like that, having that rebellious thing. So there's some really funny bits in it. Goes full circle, and now looking at it, it's the middle of the trilogy. So the last two reviews were done in Hira in New Zealand, having the desert as a background, and like in this, if I did the review for Tremors 3 in New Zealand, there would have been an oil drum. Could have done something like that. Had enough time to kill. I could have buried myself in the yard and got someone to dig us up and stuff like that. But I'm housebound. I have no idea how I'm going to do a spoof ending like the originals. But Tremors 3, you can knock them. If you knock Tremors, you've never really watched them, because of now is 6 films, the 7th one's on its way. They're just brilliant movies. And I haven't seen the TV show because it's never been available over here, online stream or anything. But this looks like the best idea they had. And then all the ideas they've thrown at, the TV show developed. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the outtakes. I have an idea. Okay, so this could work, it couldn't work, just wandering around, just like, and you hear a bit of rumbling, you're like, oh my god, what is that rumbling? But you keep on walking, you keep on walking, keep on walking, keep on walking. What the fuck is that? Oh my god, it's a graboid. Oh my god, I can't turn around quick enough. Oh, I'm just a model. Oh. Help me. Help me help you. Oh no.
And now, the end is here.